What's up, you guys? It's Cody coming back at you with another video, and today we are finally doing the CVD fittings by Riff Raff. Okay, so here they are. I've had these for months now. I wanted to make sure I had enough time to put them on my truck, and I've never done this before. I've never taken the spider off either, so I'll be honest with you, I've been kind of nervous about doing it, but I got enough time today. I'm finally going to jump on it. We're going to do it. So these are supposed to allow much more fuel into the system. We did a 0 to 60 in one of my last videos. You guys saw that I got 8.7 seconds on the 0 to 60. So after I install these, we'll do another 0 to 60 and see if the truck's any faster with them. We'll see how the throttle response is, if it gets better and stuff like that. So there's really no videos on YouTube about these. I've tried to find it a few times and there's none. Riff Raff has good instructions on doing it, written instructions, so we're gonna go off of that. But I'm a lot better with videos than written instructions, so I'll be learning along the way and hopefully teaching you guys along the way too, because like I said, I've never done this before, but we're gonna try and get it done. And we also had to get these rubber like grommet, they're called Viton sleeves I think, but we had to get these so we can replace these on the lines. But that's pretty much it, you guys. So we're gonna replace those, do a 0 to 60 and see if the truck's any faster. So if this is your first time here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because we do tons of videos like this all the time, changing parts on the 7.3 all the time. So also hit that like button, leave a comment down below. All right, let's get into putting this thing on. We got the toolbox out again, and then yeah, of course, if you guys saw my headlight install video, I did that yesterday. So we're still running around with two different headlights here. So we got two different headlights on right now, still waiting for the parts for the other headlight to come and get delivered to Ford so we can put the other single style 2005 headlight on this side. But that'll be the part 2 of the headlight video. If you didn't see that, go back and watch part 1 and you guys can see what happened and why I only got one done. So let's go ahead and do these CVD fittings. All right, guys, so the first thing you want to do according to Riff Raff is remove the clamps off of these boots. We can just loosen this side and this side to get the spider off. I'm gonna loosen all of them and probably take the boots off and clean them. And then yes, eventually I will probably upgrade to Riff Raff's new boot kit, like all the boots by Riff Raff. I'll get all of them replaced by them. But that's gonna be another video. We're gonna do this one step at a time, and then plus this will kind of be practice for taking this thing off for when I get the new boots. Probably would be better to do them at the same time, but I don't have the boots yet. I haven't bought them, so for now we're just gonna take these off and clean them and just do the CVD fittings for now. So this is a 7/16 deep socket. There we go. Got that nice and loose. Just make your life easy and get them real loose. This drill makes this a lot easier. It's not really a drill. It's called, I think it's called the snap-on drill tool. I always forget what it's called, man, but this thing makes life a lot easier. So after you loosen those up, the next step that Riff Raff says is to take all this connections off of the spider. And if you have your air intake heater still connected, you're gonna have wires coming out of here over to this relay right here. And you're gonna wanna take those off of the air intake heater. But since I have the delete plug, we don't have those, so we just gotta take these things off here. And then also this, I believe this is the map sensor down there. Oh, you know what? This is a good time, I forgot. I've been wanting to ask you guys for a while. This red cable that goes to the wastegate, I don't know if I can get you guys a view of the wastegate right now. Oh, there it is. This red cable that goes to the wastegate has been disconnected on mine for I don't know how long. It just, look, it's disconnected on both sides, and it's been like that. And the little 90 on the back of the wastegate doesn't even hold it in anymore, so I would have to get a new one of these in order to put it back on. But let me ask you guys, what does this red cable really do? I've looked it up and I see different answers and different people saying it does different stuff. If anybody really knows what it does, please let me know down below in the comment section. All right, let's get this off. This looks like it comes off like this. Yep, so this 90 that has your green and red cables just pulls directly off of that. That plug obviously comes off, and then our map sensor down here comes off as well. There we go, nice and easy. You just gotta push this little tab in and pull it out. All right, so we also have this thing connected to the spider. So you gotta basically get everything that's connected to the spider off. Oh, it looks like, oh, it's a pinch tab. Probably need some pliers for that. All right, guys, so like I said, this has this little pinch clamp right here. It helped a lot to have pliers with one hand pinch it, because it's kind of like they're sharp. You could do it with your fingers, but it's just easier with the pliers. And then the cable pulls right off of that. It just pulls right out. And then I believe lastly we pull this little 90 off here. Don't pull, I wouldn't pull this out of this part. Pull the 90 off of the spider. It's kind of hard to get in there. There we go. Yep, just pulls right off like that. Now everything should be disconnected from the spider as far as the cables and plugs and stuff. So just make sure you keep track of everything. I took the little pinch squeeze hose clamp from this and set it to the side so it's right here. You know, just make sure you don't drop anything in the engine bay because that could make this turn into a real bad time. Now the next steps according to Riff Raff's written instructions is to loosen this clamp, releasing the spider from the turbo, and then you will loosen the you've got more turbo boots down here, and you have clamps for it right there, right down in there. Let me make the camera focus for you guys. There they are. You want to loosen the top one right there, so that way you could pull the spider out. You got one over here, and you got this boot over here, and the bolts to that one are in the back. You can see one of them right there. So let's go ahead and do all those, and they are a 5/16 socket. This back one right here was pretty easy on the driver's side. The passenger side one I couldn't really get to, so since these are already loose and you can take it off, you can take that boot off and get it out of your way, and that'll make it a lot easier to get to it. But the nut is way back there. I can't really get to it very easily, but we'll get it. All right, you guys, so the spider is out, and let me tell you guys, I've been really nervous to do this. Like I said, I've never done it before, and I was real nervous about doing this, but it was actually really easy, especially with Riff Raff's instructions, and hopefully with this video it'll be really easy for you. But if you've had to do this for any project, like we could have done it for that high pressure crossover if we wanted to, or if you want to, if you're going to replace the boots, or you're going to put the CVD fittings on, this was really nerve-wracking for me, but it was really easy. You guys, you can do it, trust me. Like, I'm sorry, I'm sweating really bad right now, but you guys can do it. It was really easy. If you have, like I said, a drill tool like this, even a regular drill would probably work with some sockets. You needed deep sockets for some, and short sockets worked fine for others. And that was pretty much it. Everything unplugged, and hose clamps came off, and the turbo came right out. I mean, the turbo spider, so there it is. Same thing, like, if you needed to remove the turbo, you have to get this out of the way first. It came right out, you guys. It was real easy, so don't let it scare you. If you have normal tools and a general idea of how to work on cars and stuff, you can do this. But anyways, let's move on and see what Riff Raff says the next steps are. All right, you guys, so we have found our fuel line that we are going to be taking off to change the fitting. That is it right there. Let me point out it for you guys. This brass line right here, it turns back behind the head right there. That is the fitting that you are going to be replacing. So that is why we needed to remove the spider, and the next step is to take that out and put the new fitting in, and then you also have to replace those rubber grommets like I said. But all right, guys, so Riff Raff says it's a 9/16 wrench to remove it, so I have the 9/16 wrench on it already. Let's see if we can loosen it with this. I think it loosened up already. Yep, seems loose. Now we're just gonna take that out and then replace the fitting and the Viton sleeve, and we'll be done. So let me put the camera down and finish taking this out, and I'll show you guys when it's out. All right, you guys, so it is out. There it is. Let me see if I can show you that it's disconnected right there. You could see it's disconnected from the fitting. That's the fitting right there. There's your brass hose right there, your brass line. It took a long time to get it out just because there's not a lot of room back here, and I had to just use the 9/16 wrench and just turn it little by little until I could finally stick my hand in there and take it off by hand. And then the brass line didn't really want to come out, so I used my cat's paw here, this thing, got it in there like this, and pried it out like that, and it popped out of the fitting. So now I gotta see. For some reason, I'm gonna double check, but I don't think Riff Raff tells me what size socket it is to take that fitting out, but I'll figure it out and get that fitting out, and then we'll get the new one in, and go from there. So we're getting there, but that was definitely tough. So we got the old fitting out, and they are both, the new and old fitting are the same size, and that is a 9/16. So I used a 9/16 socket on my ratchet and it came out. That is the old one on the right and the new one on the left. You can see right there the difference between the factory check valve CVD fitting and this high flow CVD fitting from Riff Raff. You can see a huge difference. So hopefully this allows much more fuel into the system and we see a difference. So let's throw the new ones on, and then the other one should be easy. The other CVD fitting is supposed to be easy to get to. So we're more than halfway there, pretty close to halfway there. All right, guys, now we are ready to put our new CVD fitting in, and it is very tight back there. I mean, it was super hard for me to get my hand back there just to take off the old one. So chances are, unless you're really good or really lucky, you're gonna drop the new fitting at least once. So make your life easier and tie some string, or in my case, dental floss, around the hex part of the CVD fitting, so you can tie the string off somewhere. I'll probably tie it off to like the transmission fluid dipstick, and I can get the threads in and started, and then I could take the string off, or even I could cut it right here because it's not on the threads. It'll be okay to leave. But yeah, it'll definitely make your life easier, so you want to do that. So let's go ahead and throw this in, and then we're going to change the grommet on the brass line. All right, you guys, so here's where we are at. We got the new fitting on and the new rubber grommet on there, okay? Now, I told you guys to use the string, and the string got in my way and got annoying, and I got impatient, and I took the string off and I dropped the Riff Raff fitting and it fell, and I haven't found it. So do not be like me, and you know, just don't be like me and not take my own advice. Put the string on the thing, and instead of tying it to the transmission fluid dipstick, put the string on there and brace your arm. Like I braced my left arm on here, and I got both hands back there with the string on it. I had the string in my left hand and the fitting in my right hand, and then was able to get both hands back there and use both hands to get the fitting in there with the string also in my hand. So you can get both hands back in there as long as your hands aren't too big, and that's the way to get it. But I tried to do it with one hand and dropped the fitting, didn't have the string on it. So we got the other fitting in there. We got the other fitting in. This is the hard one. The other one's easy. I think it's back here behind the alternator somewhere. You don't even have to remove anything out of your way. So we got the hard one out of the way. We got one Riff Raff fitting in there. We're missing one fitting. Now, I'm hoping that when I get this on there and start the truck, the fitting will fall out and vibrate and fall out under the truck, and I can get it. But if not, I'm just gonna buy the new piece. I'm gonna buy a new set of Riff Raff CVD fittings, and then I'll put them in and make it all in this same video. Okay, so either way, keep watching. In this video, we're gonna get both in there and do the 0 to 60 with both fittings. It just might be recorded on another day, but it's all gonna be in one video, okay? So keep watching. We got one in. We're gonna clean up all these boots and put the spider back in after we tighten down the brass nut. And then, like I said, we're gonna do the other one. It's all in this video, all right? So whether I find this one that I lost or not, all right? So let's tighten that down, and then we'll take these boots off too, and we'll clean all the boots and put everything back together and go on from there. All right, guys, we finally got that fitting on, man. I'm taking a break right now. That was rough. That was rough. I probably just spent the last hour and a half maybe trying to get that freaking fitting on. That's pretty much it. The fitting is in, the brass nut is on. There is our line. It's tightened down pretty good. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and clean off the boots. I'm gonna clean off the boots of any like oil and dirt, just so we can make sure to get a nice good seal. I'll probably not take those ones off. Man, I've been working on this for a few hours. This project was rough, you guys. I'm serious. It was pretty dang tough. And it's like it's literally, I think, 95 degrees out right now. But I'm probably just gonna take a rag and wipe those ones off. I'm not gonna take them off. Like I said, I'm gonna replace the boots one day anyway. So for now, I'm just gonna take a rag and wipe those off. I'll spray those ones with some like silicone cleaner or something. Maybe just use a rag and not even spray them, clean them off, and put everything back together. That should be easy. Shouldn't be too bad. And then we can get to this last one. All right, guys, that's it. The back fitting is in. The spiders all put back together. All the lines are connected. To the spider. All of our plugs. Everything's back in. Everything's done on this side. Okay, so now we're gonna get to the other one, and then that's it. The job will be done, and we'll go do a 0 to 60. See if we see a difference. We better, man. As hard as this was, man, we better see a big difference. Let me tell you. Let me get down real quick. As difficult as this was, especially that back fitting, hopefully this front one isn't that bad. As difficult as this job was, I've been out here for probably 4 hours, man. It's 95 degrees out. I'm pretty sure the backs, oh yeah, the backs of my legs are very sunburned. So this better be worth it, man. We better see some good, noticeable performance upgrade from it, and fuel economy, and hopefully, because, whew, all right. Let me catch my breath, get some water, and let's get to that other fitting. All right, guys. So, it is about a week and a half later, and I finally got this project done. I finally got both CVD fittings in. Let me tell you, this project ended up turning into a nightmare. Now, it's mostly my fault, but this project is a big project. It's a lot of work, at least it was for me. Let me go ahead and tell you guys what happened, what went wrong, and then I'll show you how I got that other CVD fitting in, the one that goes in behind the alternator into the driver's side head. So first of all, you guys saw me drop the other CVD fitting in the back, and I never found it. I never saw it come out, so I had to order another set of the CVD fittings from Riff Raff. Had to wait for that to come in the mail, and then I went to put the other one in here behind the alternator, and it all came out nice and easy. And then when I looked at the Vidon fitting, the like rubber grommet that seals it on the fuel line, it looked fine. It didn't look like it was really worn down, so I thought I can reuse it. I didn't feel like really replacing it with a Riff Raff one because I didn't think I needed to, and that ended up being really dumb. Make sure you guys replace it with the Riff Raff Vidon fittings, the brand new ones, because when I went to tighten it, it wouldn't seal. I started the truck up and it was leaking fuel. I thought, okay, let me try and tighten it down a little more, and then maybe I can get it to stop leaking. And this is what ended up happening. I over tightened it, and the brass nut, let's see if I can get, there you go. The brass nut actually ended up going over the CVD fitting and stretching, so it would not seal, it would not tighten, and I completely ruined this entire fuel line, because you cannot just replace this fitting. You have to buy a whole new fuel line with the fittings on it. So I was driving, I had done that, and then I thought, like, okay, maybe if I take it off and put the Riff Raff Vidon fitting on, I can get it to seal. So I did that. I took it back off. I put the Riff Raff Vidon fitting on, tightened it back up, and it stopped leaking. I thought, oh, okay, okay, so lucky. I don't have to replace that line. We got it to seal with the new Vidon fitting, so everything's gonna be okay, right? The next day, when I got to work and then got out of my truck, I was dumping fuel from the engine, like pouring. I popped the hood and fuel was spraying out of this fitting. So I was like, man, like, now I had to call around. There was only one Ford dealership that had this on hand. I wanted to get it right away. I didn't want to have to order it and wait. I wanted to put it on as soon as possible, because that was the first time that my 7.3 has ever actually been like broken down. It was completely my fault, but that was the first time that my truck was considered like broken down. Like I couldn't drive it. I mean, I could have, but that's not really safe. It was officially down, right? So I wanted to get it fixed as fast as possible. I found one Ford that wasn't even really close to me, but I was able to drive there and buy a new fuel line and put the new fuel line in. I didn't even know if I was gonna do it myself, because I've never done anything like that. But I went ahead and tried it and tackled it and was able to get it in. I got the old fuel line out and the new fuel line in. So now it's finally officially done. We can go ahead and get to the 0 to 60 here in a second. Let me tell you guys how I did that front fitting. So I took a wrench. I'll put up a picture right here so you guys can see. But as you can see, I cut a little spot out of the box end of the 9/16 wrench. That way it would actually go around the fuel line. And then I was able to get in there and put the box end of the wrench around that fuel line and then onto the fitting. And then the fitting was, the wrench was like coming up to right here. Didn't have a lot of leverage on it, but I was able to put like a second wrench on it. Hopefully most of you guys know that double wrench trick, where if you have the open end of the wrench up here, you could put the closed end of another wrench on it for more leverage. And I was able to use the closed end of the wrench to crack that, that brass nut loose. And then from there, you can pretty much take it all the way out with this. Now this is the wrench that I used. As you can see, it actually broke, but when it broke, it did loosen the fitting. So it loosened the fitting and broke at the same time, and then from there I was able to do the rest of the job with this side. You can get it in there at an angle like this, and take the fitting. You can't see it on the camera, but it's already on there, and you can pretty much loosen it all the way from there, and then same thing as putting it back on. Now, like I said, do not make the mistake I did and leave that factory Viton fitting on there. Make sure you put on the new Viton fittings that you get from Riff Raff. This is the one from Riff Raff now, but like I said, that's the Viton fitting I'm talking about. Make sure you replace that. Now, when I bought that new fuel line, it came with 2 brand new Viton fittings on each side, so I just used those, put it in, and it's sealed, and everything's fine now. So yeah, that's pretty much it, you guys. Like I said, I was able to get the job done with just this wrench on this front one. I cut a little bit more than a 1/4 inch out the top here, so it would go around the line, and then broke it loose with that, and then took the rest of it out with this. And then of course the fitting comes out with a socket. I believe it was a 9/16 socket and a ratchet. I used my long handle swivel head ratchet. I love that thing. It's my favorite tool. It makes everything so much easier. So that's pretty much it, you guys. The back one was really the hard one. Just make sure that when you tighten down these brass nuts, you're only supposed to go until the front end of the brass nut is touching the CVD fitting. Okay, so actually here, let me show you how that should look. So this is our extra CVD fitting that we have, because I bought a pair and then dropped one and then had to buy another pair, so now I have an extra one laying around. But basically, when you tighten these fittings in, you want to have it go all the way until it's touching right here, and there's no gap between these fittings. So right now it's about hand tight, and if you actually use a tool, you can get the brass nut, you can get this to touch this brass nut to touch this fitting with the 9/16 wrench, and that's when you know that you have it all the way tight and you're not going to get a leak. That's what Riff Raff's instructions say, and that is what I did on the new fuel line, and it worked perfectly. We had no leaks. Now, I just messed up on the first one because I wasn't paying attention. I didn't really see that I was over tightening it and splitting the brass nut. So this is the side that I did that to. So as you can see, it's all flared out because I over tightened it and the brass nut was going over this fitting. So that's what I did, made that mistake. Don't make the same mistake as me, learn from my mistake. And yeah, so that's pretty much it, you guys. Let's go ahead and get into the fun part, the 0 to 60. The time we're trying to beat is 8.7 seconds. That's what we got on the last 0 to 60. So like I said, everything's done. Let's go ahead and drive down to the same location we did our last 0 to 60 and see what we get. Hopefully we get a little faster than 8.7, especially with how hard this project was. I mean, I really hope we see a big difference, because this was the most complicated, difficult thing I've had to do to the truck, and I really hope we see a big difference. So let's go ahead and see what happens. All right, guys, so here we go. We're gonna finally do our 0 to 60 test. Like I said, this has been weeks in the making of working on this project, of getting these CVD, these check valve delete fittings from Riff Raff in. Months if you include how long I've had the fittings and didn't install them, right? But we're finally gonna do it. So our 0 to 60 time to beat, like I said, is 8.7 seconds. That's what we were doing before installing those fittings. We are out here at the same spot that I did the 0 to 60 test last time, out here in Mexico. So this is where we did it last time, same exact spot. The only difference, really, it's a kind of a hot day, so we'll see how much the temperature, hopefully, you know, the temperature doesn't make too much of a difference, but it is pretty hot today. It might make a little bit of a difference. So let's go ahead and get to it. Let's do our 0 to 60 and see what kind of numbers we get, see if these things really make a difference. All right, guys, there it is, 8.4 seconds. All right, so like I said, 8.7 was the time to beat from before adding the CVD fittings. 8.7, we got 8.4 this time. All right, so we saw a little bit of a difference. We saw a little bit of performance increase. But I gotta be real honest with you guys for how much work that was to install those fittings. I mean, I dropped one of the fittings. That was completely my fault, and I made it a 2 different day project because of that. Because I was working on the first one and I dropped one, so I put the other one in and I had to order another set and wait for it to come in. So that's completely my fault. I did make this project harder on myself for that reason. But it was super hard to get to that back fitting on the passenger side. And then on the driver's side, again, I messed up and over tightened the brass nut on the line. I messed up again. But still, just with how much work it was and how hard this project was, what went into it, how long it took me to get it in, to just go from 8.7 seconds to 8.4 seconds on a 0 to 60, not really worth it in my opinion. What's done is done. I did them, so obviously they're gonna stay. But if I ever get another 7.3 for any reason, will I do the CVDs, the check valve delete fittings by Riff Raff? Probably not. More than likely not. It really was not worth it to me. They're cheap, don't get me wrong. I think they're like $30 for the set or something, so it's not that it's not worth it because of the price, because they are cheap, but it's just not worth what you get out of them. Obviously, when you look at the fittings, the check valve delete fittings, and you compare them to the factory check valves, they do seem to be a lot less restrictive, higher flow fuel allowability. But as far as how much difference it made, not really anything to be excited about. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and learned from it. Maybe this helps you guys make a decision on whether or not you want to do those fittings. I personally don't think it was worth it, but we did it. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. We got more to come, of course. This is going to be one of the next mods that we do next. This is BD Diesel's electronic boost fuller. So this clamps onto one of the electrical wires somewhere in the hood. We'll go over it when we do the install, but this clamps onto one of the electrical wires and makes the connection, and then you run the other side of it, which is just an open loop, to a ground, and it's supposed to override the overboost code. So I have a Super Chips tuner and I don't get any overboost codes. My truck never defuels, so I think my Super Chips tuner takes care of that. However, I am only getting 21 psi of boost max with my Super Chips tuner, all the mods that I have. So we're gonna see if that makes a difference and allows me to get a little more than 21 psi. We'll see what happens. I don't know for sure. Forgot how much it is right now, but I think it was like $25. So that's next. Like I said, I don't know if it's gonna make a difference. It might not do anything because my Super Chips tuner might already do what that does, but we're gonna try it out. We're gonna see why not, and see what happens. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, please leave a like and a comment down below. Again, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.